Good evening, dear friends, and welcome to our Sunday evening live webinar. And I apologize for some of the noise in the background, but we've got two hyperactive little boys staying with us, and they're having great fun watching Mr. Bean at some wedding. And the laughter has been really something. It's a tonic. It's a tonic to have young children around. So this evening, I'm guided to share with you some extracts from this amazing book, which Brother Murray told me about, Praying with the Celtic Holy Women. But there's a part of it this evening that may resonate with your heart, and it's called The Celtic Soul. And it really is lovely. It's very moving and very touching, and it's quite applicable really for those of us who embrace Celtic Franciscan spirituality. So let us just be still for a moment. Let's come back to our heart. You may have had a busy day. I know I have, catering for 8 this evening, and it's been a joy, a lovely joy. So let's just focus on our in-breath. Take a nice deep in-breath. And as we breathe out, release any stressors, any tiredness, and just let it go to Mother Earth. And just be still and relax. And just sense the peace of God, a peace that this world does not understand. But you understand it, having surrendered your heart to God. So be still now. Be still and embrace all that you are as a child of love. The Celtic soul. In every culture there are elements deeply rooted in the psyche of its people. These elements shape and propel these people, flowing as they do from their natural bent and unique giftedness, from their environment and its interplay in their lives and their relationships with creation and with divinity. So essential are these to the cultural heart of a people that they may be called its soul. Emerging more than 2,000 years ago, the Celtic culture extended throughout parts of Europe, as far as Greece and Turkey. Described by historians as proud and courageous, the Celts had their own language, their own art, and mythology. Their strength was their communal appreciation and adaptability. Their weakness was their lack of central organization. Thus, as they were attacked, the Celts easily moved from one place to another that was more protected by its natural surroundings. Ultimately, the Celtic people found themselves in the more isolated districts of Scotland, Wales, Cornwall, the Isle of Man, Brittany, and Ireland. Because of this insularity, the soul traits of the Celts are preserved and encountered even in the Ireland of today. The Celtic soul is intuitive, leaping readily beyond the here and now. It is imaginative, playing gleefully with the symbolic and mythical. It is inclusive, caught up in family, and very much caught up in community. It is wide open in its hospitality. It is God-centered in its day-to-day orientation toward life. It is given to storytelling and song, in the company of friends over a pint in the local pub. A Celtic spirit sees God and sees God's action as integral to moment living. Every aspect of life is enabled by God and enlivened by God. It is the kind of God awareness that inspired many Irish mothers, including Bridget's mother, Bridie, to begin each day with the phrase, "In the name of God." The awareness of being immersed in the holy in the midst of a circle of love, like a cocoon or a womb which God has woven around you. This is core to the Celtic understanding of life. The daily spiritual practice of the Christian Celts from the 5th century on focused on Holy Scripture, particularly the Psalms and the Gospel of St. John, and on a deep reverence for the presence of Christ in the Eucharist, accompanied by a keen awareness of the feeling of Christ with us in the present, enfolding moment. An encircling format is evident in many prayers requesting the enfolding protection of God and of God's saints. This encircling is further reflected in the secular winding of pilgrims to this day at Ireland's holy shrines. Visitors move as they pray, clockwise that is, sunwise around the sacred rooms, high crosses and holy wells, repeating their Hail Marys and Glory Bees. Encircling is also present in the halo at the meeting of the vertical and horizontal planes in the Celtic high crosses. One sees it in the windings of the pilgrim's path outlined at the labyrinth near the peace pole at the Curragh, an expanse of land retained in common since the time of St. Bridget between Kildare and Newbridge. Encircling is reflected in St. Patrick's prayer, "Christ be before me, Christ be behind me, Christ be beneath me, Christ be above me." It is found in the words of an Irish prayer for protection. May the encircling protection of God surround you, the encircling power of Christ's love. This encircling motive may have had its origin in a pre-Christian trio of female goddesses named Banba, Fodla, and Iriu. Each in turn met the first Celtic invaders. Banba stopped them, saying, "You cannot enter this land." But the wily Celts told her, "If you allow us to enter, we will name this land after you." They prevailed by appealing to her ego. Next, the Celts encountered Fodla, who also commanded them to stop. Again, they prevailed by bribing her ego with the promise to name the land after her. And finally, they were met by Iriu, goddess of sovereignty, who was more welcoming than the others, offering them a sacred cup of wine. So delighted with her, they promised this third goddess that the land would be named after her. Thus, Ireland had the triple name of Banba, Fodla, and Iriu, which was eventually shortened to Erin. Hence, there was already a willingness to accept the concept of the Trinity, since the myths of Ireland featured a trio of founding goddesses. Another pre-Christian Trinitarian symbol is that of the maiden, the mother, and the crone or hag. The crone depicts the wisdom of the aged one who has travelled life's cycle. In Ireland, the authors visited the hag of Beera rock formation near Coola Bay and the nearby early monastic site of St. Cadogan or Catherine. According to legend, St. Catherine turned the hag of Beera to stone because she did not adopt the new Christian faith. In the Celtic soul, distances in time and space seem to disappear into an awareness of the divine, a divine ever-present. This time warp produces what we might term historical inaccuracy, since the Celtic soul sees 1,000 years as yesterday. It is this kind of perspective that recount the legend that St. Bridget was present at the birth of Christ, serving as midwife to Mary. This perspective doesn't for a moment accept the legend as factual. It is simply that the factual is not pertinent to the sense of the curious of God's ever-presence. The Celtic soul takes seriously the pronouncement of Jesus that those who do it to one of the least ones do it to me. A similar awareness is told in a legend of Bridget, who gave away to the hungry a basket of apples given to her by a wealthy admirer. On being admonished for distributing a personal gift to the indigent, Bridget's reply was, "What is mine is theirs." This is the world vision behind true Celtic hospitality. And there I want to stop, because Celtic hospitality is very much in keeping with Franciscan hospitality, where all are welcome. It's like here when people come knocking on the door, who may be weary and just want to sit in the garden. Automatically we ask them, would they like refreshment? Would they like a cold drink if it's a hot day? But if it's a cold day, we automatically offer them a cup of tea or coffee. And thankfully we always have some cakes made and share some fruit loaf or a bun or a muffin. So Franciscan Celtic spirituality is something less academic and more practical. It's where we embrace the divine in another without the dogma. I would never dream of asking someone who comes to the garden, "Oh, what religion are you?" or "What church do you go to?" That's totally irrelevant. That is not Celtic Franciscan spirituality. Celtic Franciscan spirituality is a soul spirituality. It embraces the divine in everything that lives, that breathes, that moves, from the blade of grass to the hummingbird, to the hens, the dogs and the cats, the badger, the pheasant, even the fish in the pond, all have a presence, even brother sun and sister moon. Nature is the cathedral of God. And that's where we as Celtic Franciscans embrace God, not in some stuffy old building full of ornate treasures, but in the landscape. Because the landscape is living, it's moving, it's breathing, it's reenacting nature, it's singing the praises of God. And you will know that for yourself if you've been for a walk, which I go most days, on this old redundant railway line, secretly hidden, where they blasted through ancient rock to create this tunnel. And the rock face is about 40 to 50 feet high. And I walk along there and stand in the center of this old ancient rock. And you feel something. You feel the energy of the stone. And the white particles that you see in the stone was once living. Yes. And then as you come through, you see all what nature has done, where the birds bring seeds and they drop into the rock face, into the crevices where there may be a crack, and suddenly you have a profusion of plants and young trees and old trees forming an umbrella, offering shade. Nature for me is the soul that connects me to God. So let us be still now. Come and join me in this guided meditation. But first I want to invite you to kick off your shoes, your sandals, or whatever you're wearing on your feet, and come with me to this very old, magnificent railway line, now redundant, but it's a walkway for pilgrims, and I call it my cloister. And there's a bench there overlooking a meadow, and right behind you is the sea. And I want you to join me by sitting on this bench and being aware of the meadow and being aware of Brother Sun's rays shining on you. It's mid-afternoon. The tide is in and you can hear the birds behind you. You can hear the seagulls. But the fishermen, the local fishermen, are waiting for a catch. And the air is crystal pure. And as you breathe in that freshness with that tinge of salt air. And in your out breath, you release gratitude to Gaia, to Mother Earth, for being allowed to be here. And with your bare feet touching sacred earth, you feel a current of soft electricity, nature's energy flowing up through the grass, right up through your feet. And you feel that soft energy. It's a subtle energy. And it makes its way up to your pelvis. And then it begins to do something remarkable. It reawakens all of your chakras, beginning with the one in your tailbone, all the way up to your heart. And as you breathe in, you're breathing in that energy from earth, from this sacred earth, this temple of God's love. And your heart is becoming entwined with the love of the Creator. And using your third eye, you look across the meadow and you see the most beautiful scene you have ever seen. You see the deer leaping in the meadow. You can hear a cacophony of birds singing. And there's an embankment beyond the meadow with the most beautiful oak trees and cedars and weeping willows. And there's something else. You can see a bright light, like a vortex of light, coming down the embankment in the distance. And it's coming towards you right through the meadow. And now it's right before you. And as you look through this light, it's as if someone has pulled a pair of curtains open, and it allows you to see into paradise, to see the temple of God, to see the Holy of Holies. And in this place, there are angels of high rank, ministering to the light, which is love. You can barely see God because of the incense. But as you breathe in, they allow you inhale the beautiful essence of frankincense. Just breathe it in. And in your out breath, relax and feel safe as you come into the temple of God. And you can hear the most beautiful music. And angels are in adoration. Be at peace here. Rest in the arms of God. Rest and allow your spirit be breathed on by the breath of God. Be still now. Relax. And just be aware. Be aware that you are in the presence of God. Be still. Be still. And in that stillness, you see Jesus coming towards you. And as he comes towards you, you can see his heart. It's as if it's like a Christmas tree. It's luminous. And he takes your hands and places them on his heart. And he asks you to lift the light, to hold the light of his heart, to take that light and to bring that light to your heart. And as you do this, you are bringing the light of the cosmic Christ into your life. And all around you, there is peace. And all sadness, weariness dissipates. And you become infused with the love of the cosmic Christ. Your heart is your teacher, It is the gateway to your soul, and your soul is the gateway to God. And now you are totally relaxed in the presence of Christ, and you are safe. And with each in-breath that you breathe in the essence of the Celtic soul, the love of nature, the song of a bird, the aroma of flowers, the essence of Brother Sun and Sister Moon. Breathe it in and invigorate your mind, your body and spirit. And in your out-breath there is only love in this cathedral of God. Just relax. Be still and be aware of your Celtic soul. A soul that is nourished every waking moment by Gaia's love for you. Relax now. And as you see the curtain close in the midst, you're brought back to where you're sat on this bench, and you see the meadow. And now you see the shadows of the sun reflecting in the landscape. Hours have passed by, and as you look up, you begin to see Sister Moon and the stars of heaven, and they light the way for you along this railway track through the sacred rocks and trees, and suddenly you're back home. You're back to where you are right now. But as you breathe in, you still sense the essence of the incense, frankincense. And you sense the peace of God. And remember, this peace is not of this world. It is of God. And as you look down at your feet, you can see the hallmarks where Gaia has blessed you. You can see pieces of grass amongst your toes. And that reminds you that you've been to a special place where the Christ shared with you his mystical heart. Be at peace now. And let nothing disturb you, because you are a child of God, and that you are loved, not for what you do, but for who you are, a beloved of God. And as we bring this webinar to a close, we ask you to remember that you have a part to play, to be a vortex of light, and wherever you go, to remain earthed, grounded and protected, but make time to nourish your Celtic soul, to feed it with periods of silence and love. So we finish with the Celtic blessing. In the name of all that is sacred for you, may the Father, Mother God enrich your heart with the blessings of mind, body, and spirit. May Brother Sun and Sister Moon always lead you to that place where you have just come from. And may you always sense the presence of God beneath your feet. So go now and relax in the knowledge that you are loved. And thank you for being here. And I look forward to your company again. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah. Paxet Bonum OmShanti. Solo di Caritas. Salam Alaikum. Peace. Peace of God be with you this night and every night.